Hello everyone, welcome back to WCHED online training TOT-1. How is it going? I'm pretty good. Thank you for prayer. And we are going to share about different approaches to Che. Actually, there are 5 approaches in Che. The first, community basic. Second, family basic. Third, church initiated and church basic. And the first, government. And last one, urban Che. And this one, the last one, urban Che. And next topic, we are going to share it. And different approaches to Che. You will understand what is involved in starting a project from a church basics versus a family basic versus a community basics in order for you to decide where is the best for you to begin the project. Two people talking about how to begin the Che program in their context, the community. Okay, listen. The first, with so much of Che being spiritual, the church is the lowest place to begin Che. Second, I don't agree. We are told we should have community ownership. How can that happen if the program is based in a church? But Che is spiritual. How can new believers in the community to spiritual teaching? Che also promotes development, not relief. The church cannot just do things for people. People must decide and do things themselves. Okay. So what do you see? What is happening? Yes, they have the different opinion because they have no idea which to start Che program. And after this lesson, you can learn and which to start the Che program approaches. And I have taught you several times the community basic, right? And you can review when I read the columns. So paid trainers come from outside the community, right? And they manage a large region and serve more than just one community. And volunteer trainers live in the community and are coached by the master trainers from outside the community who are paid to manage work in a large geographic area. And trainers enter the community to build awareness of Che and promote community mobilization. The community selects a committee, and the committee is trained by a training team. The committee chooses the Che volunteers, and the Che volunteers are trained. Che volunteers visit in homes and teach physical and spiritual topics they learned by the training team. And Che's lead people to Christ and form small groups. And small groups can become house churches, like a cell church, and unity to form a traditional church or join an installed church, like a church planting. The program is owned by the community. So that's why we called this community the basic approaches. Look at this diagram. And training team enter the community. And they have the community awareness seminar and mobilizing. And after this seminar, the committee select a committee. The committee is trained by training team for 1 month. For 1 month, twice a week, training team train them. And after training, the committee chooses Che volunteers. Che volunteers rules in visiting house to house to sharing the both of topic physical and spiritual they learned. And the community, the basic program, the focus on, yes, these are houses. Then each line there might be growth groups, and the committee they gather them as a church and start church. But the family basic approaches, okay, and they compare this. So what is different about the family basic approaches compared to the community basic approaches? No committee, right? No committee because the family basic approaches. No committee to manage the program in the community. And also no group. No group. Just not a group of individuals, but single family. And there are multiple communities with a single chair family in each. But the chair family should be Christian. The Christian family models a healthy home and helps their neighbors with problems. And the program is owned by the family, not the community, because it's not a community basic. Instead, family basic, right? And the families lead other families to the Lord and house church informed. And training team trains chair families in other locations outside of the community. And chair families are sent to the communities, often the evangelistic. So when might a family basic approach be needed? In religion contexts, there are hostility to the Christian religion, like Muslim and Buddhism, Hinduism and Heathenism area. And in a political context where community organization is a threat to the government, and where a denomination or mission organization is sending evangelistic alone to different community, and where there is no Christian church and only one Christian family in the village, and where the family is the best avenue for entering a community. And like this, the training team into the community, like that. And there is chair family in community, each community. And chair family visiting house and sharing God's word and fiscal awareness, and there might be also growth group in a community. So this family basic approaches focus on chair family. They should be a committee, they should be chair volunteers, and they must be a Christian family. And another one, comparing the church basic approaches with the committee basic approaches. So what is different about the church basic approaches compared to the community basic approaches? Look at this. Master trainers from denominational headquarters coach volunteer trainers from the church, right? Because of church. And committee members and chair volunteers are chosen from within the church. The program is owned and managed by the church. And when might the approach be used? Where denominational leaders want to use chair program as outreach area ministry in a district or the country. And church leaders can be mobilized to initiate chair programs as an outreach of their church. And the church is the best avenue for entering community when the community does not want ownership or responsibility for the program. There are two different kinds of church approaches. First, church initiated and church basic approaches. So in this time, church initiated we share. And difference between church initiate and church basic approaches. The committee is formed in the community. But church basic, where? Yes, in the church. And the Che volunteers come from the community. The program is initiated by the church, but owned by the community, different from the church basic. And church basic, there is the committee and Che volunteers and ownership by the church, by the leader of church, not the community. But the church initiated approaches in the community, by the community, from the community. And when is approach useful? And usually church initiate approaches, so where denominational the leaders want to use Che program as an outreach area, outreach ministry in Eastern or country, and where church leaders can be mobilized to initiate Che programs as an outreach of their church. But number 3 is different from the church basic. The way the church is willing to give the ownership, right? Willing to give ownership of the program to the community. And the community is willing to accept ownership and responsibility, right? Can you catch it? Yeah, look at this one. There are the diagram, the church basic approaches and church initial approaches. And the left side, the church basic approaches. Yes, the committee Che volunteers, they are all in the church, right? But the church initiate approaches, what's that? Yes, training team in the church. And committee Che volunteers are in the community. And comparing the church council-based approaches with the church-based approaches. So what is different about the council-based approaches as compared with the church-based approaches? A council of pastors serves as the coordinating committee. And pastors from several churches work together to form the council of pastors. The council of pastors is formed before training team. The council of pastors choose the trainers. The trainers and chairs report back to the council of the pastors. When might this approach be useful? To build up the local church, right? To build up the local church. And when there are few outside resources, and when the local pastors are committed to Che. And what are some potential pitfalls in this model? The local pastors must be committed to Che, and there must be Che coordinator who is available to train the council and the chairs. And trainers and Che volunteers must not accept a salary, yes, as a volunteer. And comparing the government and clinic initiated approach with committee-based approaches. It enters an area through government structures. And the programs are committee-based at the committee level and requires relation with the government. So where government structure are strong or failing, and where there is the possibility of cooperation between the church and the state. And the governments are willing to allow their staff to be trained. And what are some potential pitfalls in this model? And can degenerate into secular development program and makes evangelism very difficult. And the programs rise and fall with election and the founding circles. And the government initiate approaches that depend on the community level, cultural level. So training team advocated supporting training group such as the local government and country level, and community level, and barangay level, and township, and the community health worker. And actually, the government initiative approaches focus on the community health worker because they should follow the health awareness and they know all things in the community. And a community health worker makes community awareness and mobilization seminar. And committee choose committee and Che volunteers instead of 20 team. And advantages of different approaches. First, community basic approaches advantage. More people involved, right? More people involved because the ownership in the community. And more resources available from the whole community, even manpower. An opportunity to evangelize committee members and Che volunteers. And lowers barriers between Christians and non-Christians. Greater possibility of governmental support and gives control to the people. And greater opportunity to develop healthy relationships and a strong witness. And develops local leadership, right? And what are the advantages of the family basic approaches? Can be used in parts of the world where there are very few Christians, right? And Christian families show God's love in a particular way and can lead to a church that does not separate the secular from the scared and can transition to church-based or church-initiated approaches. Now, advantages of church-basic and church-initiated approaches. The church-initiated approach still allows for community ownership, and church is recognized as the transforming agent in the community. And church-based program ensures that committee and church are Christian, which may serve to preserve the purity of the message, not corruption. And it helps the church show the committee that the church really cares about them, the physical and spiritual as well as. And good vehicle to do evangelism. And advantage of counsel-based approach. This does not depend on outside resources. Why? The council of pastors, right? And churches are built up, making a relationship together. And churches work together to form a church council, and it is sustainable. And they can multiply to other areas. And advantages of the government and clearly initiated approach. Potential are big, and we fund the programs, an opportunity to transform the whole province or the countries, an opportunity to build a relationship with government officials and influence police. Okay, and choosing which approach to use in starting a Che program. There are 5 scenarios. I attached already handout different approaches to Che in the Google Drive. You can download and read from scenario 1 to 5. And you can choose which approaches is the best in different approaches in scenarios. And I report it back. I'm waiting for you. Okay, scenario 1. In a village of 2,000 people in Guatemala, you are a group of believers with a vision to reach your community both spiritually and physically. You belong to Jesus Christ Church, An evangelical church of 150 members in a predominantly Christian community. Your pastor feels like if you approach his community leaders that they would be antagonistic to a Che program from your church. He would really like to see the church members trained to reach out to the community and impact community members with the gospel. Guess which one? Okay, scenario 2. In a very large communist country, you are on expatriate team with good health and would like to work in a rural village. The government is not giving you permission to live outside the provincial capital city where you live. You approach the public health department of the regional governments and present the opportunity to train public health officials in the principles of community development education. The government is especially interested in mobilizing volunteers in rural villages in the area where the good health would like to work. Guess which approaches? And scenario 3. You are part of a group of young pastors in the capital city of Central Asia that have been praying about many unreached villages in the north of the country. You have obtained the government approval to move to some of these villages to do training business. At this point, you don't know of any believers in these villages. You have a family connection, but this is the extent of your relationship in this religion. Development Consultants Initiative is available to train you in the principles of Che. Guess what? And scenario 4. You as a training team with Light for Kenya have been exploring the possibility of working in the Kisumu area. After doing vision seminars with the church and government leaders in the province, you are introduced to some village leaders who are very open to the Che program. A pastor from the local church in this village comes to visit you as he has heard about Che program from his brother in Nairobi. And last, scenario 5. The government of Papua New Guinea wants to develop a community health education program to reach the entire country. Within the Ministry of Health are some strong believers who want to see their country reached physically and spiritually. The population is 60% Christian. You are part of a training team and present a vision seminar to the Ministry of Health. It is positively received. Okay, you have learned the 5 scenarios. So which one approaches is the best to start Che? Please kindly read once more. Kindly, be carefully, and answer yourself and report back. Type your answer in the Facebook page. Right? And scenario 1, blah 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 approaches. Scenario 2, blah 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 approaches. Right? Okay? Okay, thank you for watching this video. Bye for now.